It was Christmas Eve in 2002. A pregnant woman, Lacey Peterson, had gone missing in Modesto, California. She was 8 months pregnant. Her husband, Scott Peterson, claimed she had gone for a morning walk with their dog and never returned. It was the kind of case that usually tugged at the heartstrings. Pregnant woman, excited to become a mother, disappears just before the holiday. But I felt a cold shiver running down my spine. Something about this case was off from the very beginning. Scott greeted us at their home when we arrived. He was composed, too composed. His calmness unsettled me. He said he had gone fishing that morning, leaving Lacey at home. That's when things started to feel strange. Who goes fishing on Christmas Eve when their wife is about to give birth? But there were no signs of a struggle in the house. Nothing obviously wrong. The dog had returned home alone, leash still attached. No leads, no clues, just a missing woman. I started to dig into Lacey's life. Friends, family, neighbors. Everyone said the same thing. Lacey was happy, thrilled to be a mother soon. She had no reason to just vanish. The search began. We scoured Modesto for any sign of her. Parks, fields, anywhere she could have wandered off, but it was like she disappeared into thin air. The more I dug, the more Scott Peterson's behavior stood out. His distance, his odd remarks, his almost mechanical concern for his missing wife. Then we caught the break. A woman named Amber Frey came forward. Scott had been seeing her. Amber told us Scott had pretended to be single, even telling her that he had lost his wife. That was the moment things shifted for me. I began to suspect what I hadn't wanted to believe. This wasn't a missing persons case. This was a murder. Amber agreed to wear a wire. We had to catch Scott in his lies. On one recording, Scott talked about how this Christmas would be his first without his wife. He spoke as if Lacey was already gone, as if he knew she wasn't coming back. With each conversation, the mask of a grieving husband slipped further. Months passed, and Lacey was still missing. We followed every lead, checked every alibi, but nothing was solid. Then, in April 2003, a body washed ashore near the San Francisco Bay. Actually, two bodies. One was an unborn child, and the other was a woman in a state of decomposition. It was Lacey. The forensic report confirmed it. The scene was nightmarish, but it gave us what we needed. We had found Lacey, and it was clear that she and her unborn son had been dead for months, likely since the day she disappeared. The bay wasn't far from where Scott had gone fishing. The connection was unmistakable. The investigation turned into a full-blown homicide case. Scott Peterson had killed his wife and unborn child and then dumped their bodies in the bay, thinking they would never be found. The coldness of it all still makes me sick. Lacey had trusted him, carried their child, and he had treated her life like disposable waste. Scott's trial was a media storm. The perfect husband, the charming man with a seemingly idyllic life, was unmasked as a cold, calculating killer. His affair with Amber Frey was plastered across every newspaper, every television screen. The public ate it up, but for me, it was personal. I had seen firsthand how Scott's lies unraveled, how every move he made was about protecting himself. The prosecution laid out the case. Scott had suffocated or strangled Lacey, though we couldn't pinpoint exactly how. He had weighted down her body and thrown her and their unborn son into the bay, thinking no one would ever piece it together. But we did. In 2005, Scott Peterson was sentenced to death. He sat emotionless as the verdict was read, showing the same lack of empathy he had shown throughout the case. For Lacey's family, there was no true closure. Nothing could bring her back or erase the horror of how her life ended. The twist in this case wasn't just that Scott Peterson had murdered his wife and unborn child. It was the cold calculation behind it. The way he went on with his life as if nothing had happened. The way he tried to build a new life with Amber Frey while the bodies of his family sank in the bay. He thought he could get away with it, that his charm and lies would cover up the truth. But the truth always finds a way to the surface.